Hey everyone, it's Sullivan Grace, and on this episode of Empowered and Prepared, we hosted none other than Dion Dawson, the founder of his own nonprofit, Dion Chicago Dream, social entrepreneur, speaker, just everything. Dion is everything, and we learned a lot from him this episode. So make sure you tune in because you don't want to miss it. Hey everybody, it's Sullivan Grace, and we are here for another amazing episode of Empowered and Prepared, which is a visual podcast dedicated to inspiring young people like you to show up and be your very best selves. I'm talking about the very best self. So we hosted this amazing guest today. His name is Dion Dawson, and he is a social entrepreneur, a speaker, and a philanthropist focused in health equity.
Word.
Dion is the founder of Dion Chicago Dream, a nonprofit organization that combats food insecurity. And his system delivers a whole week worth of fresh produce to the doorsteps of food insecure recipients. It has surpassed millions, not thousands, millions
whole world,
of pounds of fresh produce provided annually, and numerous community jobs have been created out of one powerful movement. Let's get a little bit more into his stats though. let's get into it, because he is super qualified and we just excited to have him here. But he has an audience of more than 5 billion total, not million, but billion, more than 8 million views and 347 pieces of coverage worldwide. And because of his feats, he has won several awards, including being named an Echoing Green Fellow, a 2023 Aspen Institute Food Leaders Fellow, a 2023 University of Chicago Civic Leadership Academy Fellow, and a recipient of the 2023 Chicago Bulls MLK Legacy Award, and many more. I would keep on going, but my mouth's getting a little dry.
I know. You don't even got to.
And in addition to all his great accolades, Dion is right here at home at True Star Media, where he was once a journalism instructor.
Absolutely.
That was a lie. Your resume is stacked.
Facts. And it still don't feel like I'm even qualified. It's crazy. Like when you said that. No, seriously. When you said you was like crazy qualified, I was like, man, am I? You know what I mean?
What?
Because you don't chase it. You know what I mean? So like I think that's dope. That like it wasn't like, oh, I don't belong here, but more it's like, man, like. You don't hear, especially as a black professional, enough that you're qualified. So, like hearing that, it's just so good.
You definitely qualify, overqualified. So let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Before we get into the serious questions, we gonna do a little activity.
Talk to me. Let's go.
So I want you to close your eyes.
Close my eyes. Eyes closed.
Close your eyes, and think about your craziest experience. Fill in this blank. My craziest experience growing up in Inglewood was when blank.
I stole a zebra cake from the corner store, and instead of them calling the police, they told my mom, and she told my butt up. Tow it up.
You used to steal cars, Dion?
No, a zebra cake.
Oh, I thought you said a Jeep.
Car?
I thought you said a Jeep.
A Jeep? Of all cars, a Jeep?
I'm like, wait.
That's specific, ain't it? That's a career at that point.
Oh, God.
You know?
Okay, you was okay.
You scared me. I said I stole a Jeep.
You know, they be out here stealing cars now,
I'm gonna ask you, then my mama knows that I stole a Jeep. I got scared all over again.
They be stealing cars, so you...
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Every car on that list I'm not getting, I promise you. When they were stealing them Kias, I said, oh no.
Them Kias and the Hondas.
Yeah. They were stealing them all. Yeah, listen, I tell people all the time, they be like, oh, Mr. Famous, I ain't famous enough, I'll still get carjacked, okay? Oh, yeah.
That's why you gotta have a little lock on it.
But I don't see, here's the thing that scares me, though, because what you also don't want to do is kind of pee them off either, you know? So, like, I've accepted, like, hey, rob me, just don't harm me and just get it over with, but, like, I don't want them to like, oh, I'm robbing him, and it's difficult. You know what I mean? I don't want to prolong the interaction. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, they
but it
get
was a
real
zebra cake.
violent.
It was
Okay,
a zebra
cake. Good to hear. But I'm just happy to hear it was something real.
Yeah.
Smart. Everybody got that little story, where you did a little something, got your butt whooped, and then you learn from it.
Yeah.
You learn from it. So speaking of learning from stuff,
every time I get a zebra cake, now I slam the 50 shit down. I'm like, I got this.
You got it. You got it now. Which is the beauty of everything. We're gonna talk about that today. You got it now.
I got
it like that. You can buy as many zebra cakes
unless
as
I owe
you
you
want
money,
to.
then I don't have it. I still don't got it. I'm trying to get it. Okay.
But no, that leads into my first question though. So you grew up in the Inglewood neighborhood here in Chicago, which for those who don't know, Inglewood is a neighborhood historically known for its violence, poverty, food insecurity, just all the things. So being from there is truly an accomplishment, and it's a big thing to be from that neighborhood.
Absolutely.
So take us back to your early days and tell us if you always knew what your purpose was.
I didn't always know what my purpose was, but I knew I was special. And I knew early on I was always a little bit faster to process. And I love interpersonal communication. I love interacting with people. I love dialogue, and that was my strength. And so my superpower has always been being able to slow down an interaction, to not just pack it in. But it was hard because you don't really, when you don't have someone that also excels at that, that's a little older, they can't really mold you. But being from Inglewood, I tell people, my philosophy is I lead with that instead of being a veteran, because up until society deemed me a success, I was a failure because I was from Inglewood. And now I'm successful because of my military background. And so being from Inglewood, there are parts that are unique to Chicago, but there's other parts that, are like growing up in a lot of different neighborhoods that are like Inglewood. And so it's the example of, knowing that you don't have everything after the fact. I think when I was going through it, I was just present. And I think that was the beautiful thing about even growing up, not getting everything that I felt I deserved. I think that it was a beautiful way of growing up because I didn't know I didn't have those things. So growing up in Inglewood, you didn't know it was known for violence. There may have been violence, but I didn't know that this area was known for it. You don't know how to codify and call out, oh, this is food insecurity. So I didn't say that. You know what I mean? You live, you exist, and you try to excel wherever you are. And I think that's the beautiful thing about whether you're young or you're old, you're just trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? So that's the cool part, is like just being from Inglewood and returning to Inglewood and knowing that, I'm no better than anybody. You know what I mean? I think that's the thing that I bring into, being from Inglewood. It's a J. Cole lyric I always keep with me, where he says, "I'm just a man of the people, not above but equal, and for the greater good I'll walk amongst the evil." And it just reminds me that, like, hey, I have talents, right, and I am special, but that does not negate, the journey of achieving or coming from where I come from and going back and showing love and remembering that I'm just a regular guy. So but Inglewood is definitely in me, for sure.
Yeah, and it has to be to go back and still be present in the community. You can't act higher than everybody else, and that
they're not gonna respond to it.
Yeah, they're not. So that's great. And speaking of the problems that Inglewood had, there's a lot of problems that you could have tackled. We named them before: homelessness, education, violence, to name a few. So what made you specifically hone in on food insecurity with Dion's Chicago Dream?
I don't really know. And, it's pretty fascinating. Whenever you do something great, a lot of times people ask you, like, what made you do that? And, I can assume some of the things and I can give my thought process, but it fascinates me how I ended up picking that. Somebody came to me and said, "Hey, what are you doing for Juneteenth in 2020? And without thinking, I said, feeding 100 families. And I was broke. You know what I mean? So, but when I said it, it became real. And from there, started to GoFundMe, raised some money, fed the families, told my wife, hey, I'm just going to go for this thing. She said, what's that? I said, I have no idea. But it just really, I think, food is something that will always need.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think I picked something that no matter what day it is, no matter what year it is, what moment, someone will always need food. And I think it felt right. You know what I mean? Growing up, being homeless, standing in food pantry lines, and not really liking that process. Subconsciously, I just, picked something that, I knew was still happening, that we could maybe be a part of the change. And I feel like, I was lucky and blessed to get it right. You know what I mean? And then, I was 30 when it really popped off. So it's dope that I was still given the opportunity to figure out my path even at 30. You know what I mean? When so many people get it at 18 and 19 and 20. Like I was a late bloomer.
Yeah, and I think we need to hear that too though, because it's so much pressure to have your whole life figured out and you gotta just know everything. And when we don't know at this age, it's like, or at least at my age, it's like you feel like your whole world is tumbling down. So as young people, we kind of had this conversation off camera, but when we're first starting out, it may be a little bit hard for us to get people to take us seriously because we still have to get that experience in our roles. So did you ever experience people speaking doubt or fear into your plans early on? And if so, how did you overcome that?
I will not hesitate to ignore somebody. And here's the thing, and this is, not just young people, older people, anybody. We've been through a lot these last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And I think that we've seen the worst parts of what our lives could look and feel like. If we survive that, we can survive anything. So when it comes to doubt or people casting fears, I don't take it. Because I think that you'll always practice how you play. And if that's the case, then I can't practice manifesting doubt. I can't practice only being scared. And so I think that it's important, when we talk about, younger people, it's always in a way where we're talking down. But I think this generation is some of the most fearless, inspiring, just awe-inspiring young people I've ever seen, and I want to be a part of that. I feel like you all's greatness will be so much bigger than anything that we've done so far, and it's kind of feeling like I got part of the baton right now. So if I'm going to pass that baton, I just want to make sure that I wasn't scared. Not to say that I'll never have any fear, but fear has this way of just bugging you until you give into it. Then it's this big thing like a tumor. And I just nah, we ain't gonna worry about that.
Right.
So if they any young person, old person, anybody, don't focus on it.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have your moments of doubt alone, and you're gonna have to get past that. And getting past it is by talking to yourself with facts. Don't use opinion to fight opinion. It'll just sit there. But if you use fact to cancel out those fears, you'll be okay.
Yeah. I think that's really important. And speaking of doubt, a lot of people think that because they haven't accomplished certain accolades, that certain things are impossible for them. Throw
Anything
it away.
is possible. You know what? I'll tell you what, and I want to speak about that, right? Because I believe that we can learn from anything, right? It's about to get a little spicy too, right?
Right,
because
I'm ready.
something that taught me that anything is possible, which is the wildest thing ever, is Donald Trump becoming president.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. You take out personal feelings, and the only thing I think about is, okay, cool. This person did what they've been telling us we can do since we were kids.
Anything.
And so if that's the case, all I need to do is see it happen.
Yep.
Of course, me and him, different backgrounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Different tax brackets, but it don't matter.
Yeah.
All I need is a little bit.
Yep.
Just show me that, man. And sometimes I don't even need a little bit. I'll rock out myself, but that's the thing. In life, we're shown so many examples of perseverance, of resilience, of strength.
Yep.
We just got to make sure we're paying attention to it. But
Yeah.
nah, you don't got to have it figured out.
Yeah.
I mean, and who am I to judge anybody? I was 30. Why am I dumping on a 17-year-old
You're right.
when I was 30?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was 30. I did not have it figured out, and it's okay.
Yeah.
I was still deserving of love, of patience, of understanding, and by extension, I will give it.
Yes, 1,000%. All you need is that one little bit of confidence and knowing that you can do it.
That's it.
And it will carry you
Facts.
along the way.
Facts.
You got to tune out the noise.
But I think the thing about it is, it's important for not just young people, but anybody to have intentional dialogue. And I think that a lot of times adults try to have intentional dialogue with the youth when it's convenient for them and not the young person. So, like I try to make sure that, I'm honest about my journey any and all the time, so that whenever they interact with my journey, they'll see that I was true about who I was and where I am. And so, I do know that they need to hear it more, but I mean, even if it's just going to be me, I'll just, stand on that hill and say, hey, you're not going to have it figured out, and that's fine.
Yes.
What if you just worked a regular 9 to 5 for 5 years to help your family or to just stay afloat? That's fine. I would just hope that instead of focusing on the money-making part, that they're safe and they're aware enough for that moment of when something feels special.
Yes.
And they just take a chance on it. That's the more important part.
Yes, the most important part is taking that chance and not having
Absolutely.
it perfect the first time around. So that's amazing. And it's perfect advice for anybody watching out there who wants to start their own nonprofit. So
or anything. Yeah,
that's
facts.
the beauty in it. It don't have to be a nonprofit. Maybe it's an actual business, a for-profit business. Maybe you want to get started on your acting career. Maybe you want to get started on, being a journalist. Whatever, you're going to have to know that you have to take that first step and not be super scared all the time. Because you got to feel the fear and do it anyway. You got to feel the fear and do it anyway. So that's great that you said that. And once you had the idea for Dion Chicago Dream, how did you take the first steps to get started with it?
It took a little bit of studying. So I had to just, look at it. It's funny because when we think about, getting started, we're already provided with a lot of the information we need. So for me, it was just about, okay, cool. We all know about food pantries. We all know about people starving. So let me just kind of Google a little bit and go on social media to see, like, okay, are the things that I know to be true still true? And from there, I saw that things hadn't changed. I said, okay, let's add a little spice to this. Let's see what we can do. And that's just it. You know what I mean? I don't think I've, even to this day, fully realized what that is. You know what I mean? I think if anything, it's just always being open to that possibility and always just trying and failing and getting back up and having fun. But, in the beginning, it was really about me not watching everybody else and just trusting myself.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If I'm going to build something that's never been built, I can be aware of what everybody else is doing, but I can't watch what everybody else is doing.
No comparison.
Facts.
You can't
That's
compare
the
yourself.
thief of joy.
It is, and you are your best you.
Facts.
And that's something, we were having this conversation before, but
Facts.
that's something that we all have to take pride in just being ourselves,
Absolutely.
Yeah, 1,000%. So once you got started with your nonprofit, I know you had to secure some dollars so y'all could operate. Feeding 100 families, you probably had to get funded for that.
Yeah.
So what are 3 tips that you would give to somebody who is trying to secure that funding to get their operation started?
First thing is just tell their story early and often. It was a domino effect of how we got here, but it all boiled down to just me not, wasting time. Like every single day I woke up, I committed myself to making sure that I posted something, I told the story, I gave insight into what happened. And, I always tell the story of, I'll never forget, like one day I posted a video when we had our community fridge, and I would post videos every morning stocking it. And this day, it was cold, and
It be getting real cold here.
Yeah, and I posted it, and that day I got about, I want to say like 5 or 6 likes on the video, and one of those 6 likes was from a staff member at GoFundMe, that worked for GoFundMe on LinkedIn.
Wow.
And then when they reached out to me, they named me Hero of the Month.
Wow.
And when they named me Hero of the Month, a staff member from The Ellen Show saw it, and I got booked on The Ellen Show twice.
Wow.
So all of that from a video that had 6 likes. And so what it taught me was like, okay, cool. The first thing is, you want to share that story early and often. Second thing is just you got to manifest success. You got to believe that you're worth something and that it's worth sharing and it's worth doing. And the last thing is just, making sure that, you want to make mistakes, but don't make the same mistake every day.
Yeah.
Try to fail differently.
Yeah.
You're not going to avoid failure, but fail differently. Because then you learn different stuff.
Yeah.
And that's whether it's with fundraising or building curriculum or just creating a product. It's always about, just trying to fail differently so you can learn more.
I'm stuck on that Ellen story.
Facts. Got flew to LA and everything was on Ellen twice. It was wild.
So you mean to tell me that a video that got 6 likes?
6 likes. Absolutely. Led to me being named GoFundMe Hero of the Month. And then from there, when that got sent out, the Ellen Show was on their newsletter list, and they got it.
I want y'all to hear that.
Yeah.
If y'all don't hear anything else,
yeah,
bet on yourself every time.
Absolutely.
Is number one what I took from that.
Yeah.
Number two, you never know who's watching.
Ever.
Never.
And when we got on the Ellen Show, she surprised me 25,000, and we had about 3,000 in our bank account. So here's another thing. You talk about betting on yourself. When we went to Ellen the day before, we had to spend the bulk of our money because I knew in my heart we would need a website that could handle the volume. Spent over 10 to 15 grand getting website, everything together. Almost had nothing in the bank account. She surprised us with a $25,000 check, and we received over 20,000 in donations on our website within the next day. So we made between 40 and 45,000 in a 24-hour period.
Wow.
Yeah, facts.
I think
facts.
I just got to take a few seconds.
It's okay. Yeah, and it's still even for me. It hasn't. It happened, but it's always moments where I'm like, man, that really it still hasn't sunk in.
Yeah. And that was going to be one of my later questions, but since we're talking about Ellen now, let's just go ahead and dive right into that part.
Let's go for it.
When I saw that you had gone on the show not once but twice, it was just mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that really stuck out to me, and goes back to betting yourself, when you went on the show, is that you came out the first time jumping. And you was excited to be there. It's Ellen.
Are you crazy?
It's Ellen.
I am not about to act too cool for school.
Ever.
It was, listen, so I'm going to give you a secret. We got it, an exclusive.
Right.
We were not told that we were going to be on the show.
What?
So, because it was the height of the pandemic. So they said, hey, we would love to fly you out. And we would have to, they're going to fly us out and they would shoot a segment that would live on the website. Now, here's the thing. I'm a student of the game. EllenTube is like, their YouTube, it still do numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For
so
sure.
like it still does numbers. So I'm like, okay, they said we'd like to fly you out. Never tipped me off to nothing, right?
What?
But guess what did? And nobody knows this,
what?
All right?
Tell us.
When we were in the room, we were, looking around, just talking. And they had a speaker mounted to the middle of the DVD player. And I looked at it, there was a camera in there. And I said,
Gotcha.
But listen, it happened so, remember what I told you? I said, things happen fast, I can slow down, but I couldn't go fast enough to tip my wife off. But right in that moment, I swear it was like maybe a few seconds, but it felt like an eternity. Right after I realized it, within 3 seconds, they bust in the door and say, "You were on the Ellen Show." And we go out and run. So literally, that is the entire adrenaline rush of catching it too late, running out and you just on the stage on TV. And in that moment, deciding to be myself and appreciate it and just live in it and scream and jump, because people live their whole lives and never get this.
Yes.
And how dare I not appreciate it?
How dare you? And you just exuded gratitude.
Man, listen, this journey is all of this is gratitude. I know what the beautiful thing about it is, I know what my bottom was and how it felt.
Yeah.
And I'm reminded of that.
Yeah.
So it's always about gratitude. It's always about appreciating the fact that no one has to give me anything.
Yeah.
Even though we have a great journey and a great story, no one has to, you don't have to interview me right now. I'm honored. And so I bring that gratitude. And as a result, I just stay present. And so, man, I was like, whew, my watch fell off. I remember Ellen passing it to me.
Man,
man, listen, I was turned. I was turned too. Man, I was just like, yes. Yeah,
I mean,
doing a LeBron.
Best believe I would have probably fell out if they.
Exactly.
Wow. Yeah. That's an amazing story.
Yeah. So but yeah, I caught it like a few seconds before.
Wow. Yeah. That's crazy. That's so crazy. Yeah. I wanted to discuss the fact that you dropped out of college.
Yep.
However, now. Yeah. You sit on a board.
Yep. Of
one of the nation's top university. Yes. So what does that in particular say to you about that statement that you can do anything?
I think that the beautiful thing about, being on the advisory council at Tufts University is the work got me here. And that's it. There's no secret formula, secret sauce. It was the work. You know what I mean? And I think that's the thing. We and there's nothing wrong with going the traditional college route. Mm-hmm. It's just really about what we feel is for us. Mm-hmm. And I'm thankful that, my route got me here the way it did. And we need to practice and preach more, non-conformity and fighting back against uniformity in a way where it really is a detriment to that kid and to that young person. Like, nah, mm-hmm. I didn't have it figured out and I'm here. And so the only thing I need to do is acknowledge this feeling and then make sure that it's part of how I show up in that room. Mm-hmm. I show up in every room as if all of my team is with me, my family is with me, and my community. And I want to make sure that I continue to do that. Mm-hmm. So if I'm there, there's going to be some realness there. Yeah. And it's dope. I'm honored. But there's a responsibility there to make sure that I can bring that work and that value that got me there.
Yes, and I think it's so important that you talked about showing up too.
Facts.
Because you called me out before we started this interview. Y'all, Dion called me out. He was like, "You're not hungry enough because you don't post on LinkedIn every day."
Facts.
And you know what? I appreciated that.
Facts.
Because you need people that are going to push you to be the best version of yourself. Like, I know internally I'm hungry.
Yeah.
As ever.
Yeah.
But everybody needs to see that.
Facts.
And they need to see how bad I want
Facts.
it. So it's important to show up even when you don't
feel like it. Hey, you out there. Are you hungry? Prove it.
I'm hungry.
Cause man, like
I need me a Dion care package.
Man, facts, like for real.
Deliver straight to my doorstep.
Man, I'm, and they gotta feel it even through the video, through whatever I type when they talk to me. Like I'm not gonna just rest. I am with it. I'm turned. I'm hungry.
Very turned, young and turned.
Facts.
Young and turned. No, but I love that. So I think that there's a certain courage that it takes. To be a dreamer and to go against the grain and be non-conformal like you were saying before. Your personal mantra is to dream with your eyes closed.
Absolutely.
And what do you want people to take from that?
I want them to understand that sometimes when we dream with our eyes open, we only dream within the limits that we see. And so I say with your eyes closed because I want them to understand that, there should be no bounds. There should be no limits. However you're dreaming, whatever you're dreaming, dream it, feel it, live it, stay in it. Mm-hmm. And you'll be surprised at what you can pull off.
Yes.
If you go into, a basketball game saying, man, I could possibly score more than 30. or you could pull a Kobe and score 81.
Exactly.
So, like, I close your eyes and let that thing fly.
Yeah.
That's it.
1,000%. 1,000%. Now, I want to get into your different streams of income because in addition to your nonprofit, you're also a speaker and overall a social entrepreneur.
Yes.
Your resume is very long.
Yes.
You've been featured, we said earlier, 347 pieces of coverage, nothing to play with.
Yeah.
So how important would you say as a nonprofit owner is it to diversify your income?
Well, I think with nonprofit leader, because, technically nonprofits don't have owners.
Okay.
They just have a board of directors.
Okay.
But even with that board or even with any type of entity, it's always important to over leverage yourself in one area. And what I mean by that is just making sure that your entire thing is not dependent upon one stream of income. You know what I mean? And so it's funny because we as a people have always diversified our revenue. But it's when we, use those financial terms, we be like, what you mean? Well, diversifying your revenue is, okay, I got my 9-to-5 job, but also braid hair.
Right.
Also cut
On the
hair.
Weekends.
Also babysit.
Right.
You know what I mean? I also create content. I also do brand partnerships.
Yeah.
That's just diversifying your revenue, your portfolio. And with the nonprofit, when we look historically with Black nonprofits, I tell people, white-led nonprofits historically have been builders and shielders of wealth. But with Black nonprofits, we treat it as like a hobby. And the only thing that I did was like, no, we're going to build this out into a real company. And so we have 45 employees.
Nice.
We make at least $20 an hour.
Nice.
We've never been in the red. We've never missed payroll. This year we're closing in on being a $5 million organization.
Wow.
And
Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Huge.
And so in doing that, it's just really about how do the other great and large nonprofits get money. And you got to understand, this is public info.
Yeah.
So if you want to learn about a nonprofit, you can go to Google IRS. So for example, say you want to learn about Dion Chicago Dream and you want to know about my financials. You would go to Google, put in Dion Chicago Dream, EIN, and then from there, you would copy that EIN number, go back to Google, put in IRS nonprofit search, and that'll take you, click the link, it'll take you to the nonprofit, to the IRS website. You paste that EIN, boom, you can look at all our tax returns. And so the only thing I did was, for those larger organizations, I looked at their financials. I started seeing who was giving and what was those big grants and all those people. Hey,
you gotta play the game.
That's it. And so, from there, just really making sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do, because I take great pride in being able to hire and retain talent, and making sure that a lot of the young people know that, we're paying for talent as well, because that's how it should be.
Love that. Love that. Sound like it's a lot of purpose behind.
Yeah. And fun.
Gotta have fun with it.
I am having the time of my life, I'm telling you.
No, it's the same. People be like, when I stop having fun with it, I'll be done with it.
Yeah, that's it. Like, this is fun. Like, I'm like, man, instead of a dunking it, I'm finger rolling or something. You know what I mean? Like, I'm really, like, I'm doing, like, this is too fun. For real,
I love that. You gotta have that enthusiasm.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious, speaking of that, every person that's following their purpose and doing that type of work has that moment where it's like, I know I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Okay.
So what was that moment like for you? Have you had one of those moments?
I did, and it's a slight flex. Slight flex.
I'm sure it's going to be huge,
It's a slight flex. And I had the opportunity to, at an event, introduce Barack Obama.
Oh, wow.
And, I had about 5 minutes. I had my speech and everything. Crazy nervous, right? So I'm in the room before, it's this big ballroom or whatever, Hey, low key, I just got to go for it.
Yeah.
And then the team there says, hey, you got to come with us. And they take me out in the hallway. And I look down the hallway, and it's President Barack Obama walking up. And instead of me meeting him with everybody else, it was me and him by ourselves.
How was he?
Man, girl, okay? Talking about geek out.
Oh,
you hear
my
me?
gosh.
I'm like, I met my grandfather. I'm like, welcome home, Papa. It was one of the most surreal moments of my life.
Wow.
And again, it happening within the flow of the work. And that moment, you know, having my wife with me and being in that room and just like, it really, I was like, man, like, I'm supposed to be here. And this wasn't why I do the work, which is the beautiful part. It's like, I don't do it for the attention. I mean, like, I really love what I do. I really love, like, you know, evolving how we feed people and stabilizing quality. But to get there, it was just, and then, you know, and I've had a chance to be in a room with him again since then.
Okay, did he recognize you?
Yeah.
Yes.
He was
Love
like, man, how's the org? I'm like, hey.
Period. I love that.
I was
for
like,
you.
hold on, Dad. Hold up. I was like,
No, but he seems very personable.
Listen to me. But also, you know what I love about it is I walked away learning that I needed to be better. I realized that, you know, honestly, I slowed down. If you notice in his cadence and how he presents, he takes his time.
Yeah.
And so if people would actually look at, and which is why I do a lot of content, but if you really go back to, like, if I give you the date, and I might after this, like, I'm gonna give you the date so you could go see, like, before the post, my videos, and after, I slowed down. He didn't say what he didn't want to. And so, like, not only was he cool, calm, and just his hands are soft, okay? Hey, the
handshake.
Listen, one of the softest handshakes I've ever had.
I know that's right.
I'm telling you, like, hey, listen, I gotta give him his love. Hey, his care, top notch, but his ability to slow down and control the room is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, it is just like you're just hanging on that, and so it's like it is, you know, being able to just like also learn and keep going. So like that's what it's about. It's about, okay, cool. If I'm gonna give you game, I got to be able to receive game,
right? And
I got to be teachable.
Yes.
And so like it's just that was the moment where I said, this is okay.
This is it.
This thing might have legs now. You know what I mean? This might be a thing now.
Yeah.
So definitely.
Wow. Oh my, President.
Crazy. And the good thing about it is, I challenge myself, like, every time I see him, it will be for the right reason and with the work. And so, you know, it's like, man, like, and I believe in myself that much. I said, man, if I can do it once, why can't I do it again? So I just got to stay my course.
1,000%.
Which is what, you know, a lot of times when things happen, we think that moment goes by too fast. And so the more trained we are, it slows down more. So absolutely.
I think there's a certain frequency that you have to stay on to have
absolutely
types of interactions.
I'm locked in. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you.
You gotta be.
My frequency is so different. Like, but it's not hard though. You'd be surprised that we ignore our normal frequency to vibrate with everything else. I just lean into who I am.
Yeah.
And then I make sure that while leaning into, you know, what and who I am not, you know, disparaging people, places, or things. So I'll be fine.
You'll be great, and you'll keep on attracting these opportunities because
you do it the right way.
Exactly. So to have a high frequency though, you have to maintain a certain level of discipline. I believe.
Oh yeah.
So how do you stay disciplined and focused on your craft when there's a lot of distractions?
Here's the thing. I've always been a home run hitter. So I'm gonna tell you this right now. Like, you'll know early on if you're a home run hitter or like everyday base hit person. But the problem was that I knew I was a home run hitter. I knew it. I never practiced. I didn't have discipline. And so my whole life I would hit the home run, but not have the work ethic and the follow through. And I think if anything, this chapter for me has represented what happened when a home run hitter gave that effort and discipline every day. And that's it. And all it is when I had that moment where I noticed when I gave effort, it was better, I got hooked. And then you realize, like, you're not really missing out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything for me will find me. And so it's like, no, like, I'm not doing this for clout, not for anything. It's really about having a legacy that I can look back on and be proud of. And even being here, that's what the joy comes from. I just try to keep the main thing. And so when you have that discipline, you'll be able to track the outcomes better. And then you can start tweaking and making sure that the outcomes are what you want. But you can't track and train and be better if you're not being disciplined and doing the same thing day in and day out.
Yeah, I think we need to hear that, because I know for me in my early 20s,
Girl,
everybody
early
want to
20,
go.
Everybody
Want to go outside every weekend.
But no, but girl, listen. Everybody, even in philanthropy or nonprofit space, people listen. People love the parties and all of that. But it's like, okay, cool, that's fine. And I'm not disparaging anybody. But you know, to be great, you're gonna miss out.
Yeah.
And I want to be great.
You gotta.
And I'm not gonna apologize for going after it. And
Yeah.
so I'm gonna miss a few parties. I'm gonna miss a few gatherings, and that's fine because I'm going after it.
Exactly. And to be extraordinary, I'm a firm believer that you have to do extraordinary things.
Facts.
You can't be ordinary and expect these great things to happen.
Or you can do ordinary stuff in an extraordinary way.
Now that's a good one.
Just saying.
That's a good one.
Word.
I'm loving it.
We got to do
I'm
that like the
loving
little podcast, girl. So they say something, they be like, oh.
Snaps for that. Snaps for that. 1,000%. No, I love that though. This whole interview has been a vibe. Last question.
Last question. Talk to
Last question.
Talk to me.
What would you say is your biggest aspiration that you want to achieve in this world?
Honestly, nothing. I don't go
Expound.
I don't go. I don't go into any day or any year with any major goals. I'll tell you this: my mom, before I started the nonprofit, my mom suffered through kidney cancer. She's still here, and right after that, we went into a global pandemic. And what this chapter taught me was to be focused in the micro, not the macro. And it sounds good. Oh, well, what's your 3-year plan and blah, blah, blah. Nah, I really think anything is possible.
It is.
So if that's the case, then what's going to happen in the wash is going to happen.
Yeah.
I take every single day and I live in the micro. And if I operate how I'm supposed to in the micro, everything and every opportunity that's supposed to come my way, I'm going to get it, I'm going to knock it out the park every time. And so it's like, no, it's just, I don't, most of the things I've achieved that you read off or you've learned, I never had, those weren't goals. Because I remember when I walked in the room and they told me my mom had cancer. And the only thing I hoped for that day was that my mom didn't. And when we talk about aspirations, we also don't realize that they transition in and out and they change with every interaction, not with every day, with every second. They're evolving, they're growing, they're getting smaller. So no, I'm present, I'm disciplined, and I'm enjoying it. That's it.
Oh my gosh. This has been great.
Likewise. Thank you.
It's been so great to have you here, just giving us this game.
And listen, everybody after me gotta meet my bar. Okay? How about that?
It's up there where that light is.
Okay, it's levels. So every guest after this, you better bring it.
Bring it.
And this is before editing. I don't even know how great it's gonna be after editing.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
They about to put a spaceship in the background.
We gonna put your picture with Obama right here in the center.
This is gonna be right there.
It's gonna be right there, and then next to that, it's gonna be you and Ellen.
Yeah. Facts.
And then you with with your nonprofit, Beyond Chicago Dreams.
Facts.
It's all gonna be
on
the screen.
Just rotate with sparkles the whole time. So everybody after me, get your weight up, okay?
Get your weight up.
That's it. Come
Get
on.
your money up and not your funny
Let's
up.
go.
We're ready. So when we were introducing you, we mentioned that you were an instructor right here at True Star Media.
Absolutely.
In your early career days.
Yep.
How would you say that True Star inspired you?
Well, first of all, when I was here, the team didn't know I was homeless. So I was living in my car. And this team means a lot to me because first and foremost, there aren't a lot of jobs for Black professionals in communications and journalism, number one. It really was the first time in my life I had a position where it was beautifully unique. Like you just have to figure it out. And, then, when you're working with younger people, you really learn how to like structure yourself. So like I learned a lot about myself, but also there's a certain line you can't cross. Not with them, but like with like how you move. And so it really taught me how to move, you know what I mean? And so I still have, you know, some of the kids I'm still close to this day.
Love it.
They have masters now and all that stuff like that. They still make me pay for lunch. I'm not. I don't dare. I got some more teaching to do. But you know, being an instructor here, it was really an amazing time that like I really value. And that's why I really have great respect, not just for True Star and the brand, but also the team and what it really means. Like it's like a tough nut to crack of how to expose youth to media, but also let them really see the potential that it has to really change your life. And like, you know, like I got nothing but great things to say about my time here. And so with True Star, you know, learning who your people are, and then once you know that they're your people, opening yourself up to the entirety of the process. That's what True Star. True Star is like a safe space when you're a creative. It's something that not only is it unique in its existence, but it really challenges you by giving you the things you've never had. Okay, cool. Well, you want to record, you got the camera.
Right.
You want to write, okay, cool, let's go.
Yeah,
and so I think, you know, True Star is more important to the fiber of my being. And as a result, of course, that ultimately connects to the org, but it's really bigger, and it's about, you know, black boy joy and happiness and appreciation and being present. And that's something that I keep with me from my early days at True Star.
Yeah, it's no other place like True Star.
Facts, absolutely.
On this earth.
Funders, did you hear that? There's no place.
I hope y'all are listening.
No place.
I've been with True Star since I was 14. 22 now.
Yeah, you're a 20-year veteron. Look, she's 63 now. You know what I mean?
I might as well be.
Man.
But no, thank you for that. All right, well, that was a great episode. I learned so
The greatest episode.
I will say that. I hope my other guests don't get mad, but I mean,
if you're mad, come do another interview. How about that?
Come do a part 2 because we would love to have y'all.
What have you done since then? How about that?
How
have you grown? Okay.
let's get into some updates. But no, I really appreciate it. I really mean
Definitely,
that I
likewise.
Appreciate you being here today.
Likewise.
I learned so much, and you know, for you to be back here at True Star as a former instructor, it just really hits home. So
no, of course.
We appreciate you being here, and
that's it.
All right. Well, this is Sullivan Grace with True Star Media signing out. All right, guys, as you can see, we had a great conversation. I mean, the vibes was there, the knowledge was there. I truly walked away feeling like a better person, ready to thrive, and I hope that you did too. Stay connected to us by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Just let us know what you thought. Again, this is Sullivan Grace with True Star Media signing out.